I go around the shop today looking at some of the things that I can help you guys with woodworking, we had a frame here that we built for the fire department. It's going to hold a map for hydrants or whatever, and I'm looking at the way we put that together, and we did what's called a butt joint here. Just butted the two boards together, then put a little routed edge on it. And how did we do that? Well, we used my good friend Kreg, and these are pocket hole jig, where we use two small holes going in at a perfect angle, and we use that exclusively on this particular frame. So we're going to learn how to do that today. And can we do that on a mitered joint as well? Absolutely. So here is a big FJ that we made for the Weston, actually made for the Fort Jennings Bank up here. We haven't got a chance to hang it, but as you can see, there's a mitered edge here that we've attached together, and I have a smaller version over here, and here is an option for the pocket holes on the back side of that. Here's another butt joint that we use just for a spacer board. We're going to learn how to do that, plus use the dowel jig today. Okay, well, the first thing we're going to start with is the Kreg jig, or the pocket hole jig. Brought a lot of products out here for us to look at. We're going to do a butt joint and a miter joint with the Kreg jig. Just want to let you know the different styles of screws that are available here. We have some hardwood screws, which are fine thread. We have some softer plywood screws that are coarse thread, and if you use them backwards, sometimes the coarse thread can break off in a harder lumber, and the fine thread will spin out or strip out in your plywood. The Kreg jig here comes with a lot of different options. Ours is set up right now for, on the focus, for a 3/4 inch material, and along with that we have to set the bit. This step bit needs to be set to a certain distance with this collar, and so we can adjust that by checking it, and this is where the cutting edge is, right at the 3/4 mark. So it's pretty easy, and when you get with these, they all have simple instructions, or you can YouTube them as well. This is a clamp that's got two spaces on it that we'll be using. One's fat and flat, and the other is a little smaller for the back side. Also, these are some plugs that we can use at the end. There's some tapered plugs if we want the hole to be covered up in the back side. Haven't used them very often on our projects, because most times when you use a pocket hole jig, it's usually because it's being able to be hidden. And then last but not least, we need a square head driver for our screws. As you notice, I have glue on the table, but with the Kreg jig, you don't need it. We're going to start with a butt joint, which is typical. It's similar to what we used earlier, and that's just where the two of them are going to go together like this. So with that being said, only one of these two pieces need the pocket holes. So on here there's three options, but we're only going to use two of them. And I'm going to line them up so they're kind of evenly spaced. And I'm going to go down until the collar meets the other part of the jig itself. So many times people don't go all the way down, and that's why they don't get a correct joint. With that being said, it should leave a couple pocket holes similar to that. Then I'm going to use the clamp, and once again we're going to use the clamp, the fatter part of the clamp is going to be on what is going to be the face. This is going to be the back side where the Kreg jig lies there, where the Kreg jig holes lie. Take it up just a little bit. And it should look similar to this when we're ready to clamp. Alright, so we've got the clamp here ready to go. We did a couple adjustments there to the camera. We decided to use the fine thread screws because this is poplar, but it is a hardwood all the same. And you heard the clutch on the drill, and that meant that was all the further, or all the harder I wanted it to be torqued. see in class a lot is all the people who put in a screw, the first thing they do is just hold the drill and get crazy with it. Instead, what you need to do is kind of just bounce the drill and keep up with the bit. So bop, 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 bop. And that's kind of how I did that there. And so there's what the joint is like. And as I come out here to the camera, as you can see, this is a very, very smooth joint with the flat surface of the clamp. You get a very nice edge you don't need a whole bunch of sanding, and then the backside is the same as well. Alright, so the next one we're going to do is a miter joint. So it's definitely a joint that's a little cleaner looking, it's a little prettier when it's all said and done. But once again, only one side needs the Kreg jig holes. And again, we need to make sure, the reason why I like going with a 3-inch wide piece when we do a miter, so we can get two sets of holes. We need to make sure that we have 2 holes, and it helps out with connecting both boards together. And that's the reason why, is because when we get to the back side, we have not as much space here to work with. So as you can see, if I was wanting a miter joint with 2 smaller pieces, the hole could very easily not go in, or you could come out the back side, and we don't want that. So you have to be a little cautious. So anytime you have a mitered edge with the pocket hole, I like to use at least a 3-inch board. But the same thing is true when we go to put these together. We just use the clamp, and I'm going to use the fine thread screws again, and you just make sure that your corners are good and lined up, and it's ready to be screwed together. Again, I'm not going to just pull the trigger and hope for the best. I'm going to pull the trigger multiple times, slowly, until the clutch goes on. You notice I'm holding the back side here. Quick and easy. What a quick and easy joint. Very little sanding needed, and strong as an arrow. So, Bane says, strong as an arrow. I meant strong as an ox. Bane says, is it really that strong? So go ahead, Bane, pull on it. Pull, Bane. Pull, Bane. Come here, Bane. It's pretty strong for 2 little screws going in at an angle, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Bane says, well, if it's that easy, how can it be screwed up? And here, I'll show you. Earlier I said you have to make sure that the screws go, or the drill goes all the way down into the piece. I'm going to make both these just a tick shy. To the novice, it looks like about the same thing on the back side here. But we're going to try and clamp this together, and I'm going to do what Bane and I did earlier, and I'm going to try to pull on them, and I'll show you what happens. I'll show you a little bit of a couple other things that people do wrong as well. I'm going to grab the wrong screw. I'm not going to use the clutch correctly, so I'm going to set the clutch at, I don't know, well over where it should be, and I'm not going to use the clamp even. Let's just not use the clamp either, man. We'll just try to hold it, because that's how good we are. We're good enough we can hold it. Yeah, we're putting it together, Bane. We're doing good. Feels though that's not as good of a joint. Maybe this gap's bad. And then if Bane and I go to pull on it, it kind of came apart pretty easily, Bane. If we use the jig correctly, you get yourself a nice strong joint that you can tow your son around the shop with. If you use it incorrectly, it falls apart in just a second. One last thing about the Kreg, we forgot, they make these angled plugs that are available, and I don't use them that often because, like I said earlier, we don't have a lot of projects where you can't cover up the back side. But if you want, this is an oak one into a poplar, so you can see it very easily. This slides in here. You can put a little dab of glue, and then just take a belt sander and sand the top, or an orbital sander and sand the top, and that will be smooth. And you can accent the back side of whatever you're doing with a plugged screw hole. Alright, final shout out to my boy Kreg here. He's my favorite when it comes to fasteners. I know that there's some of my ex-students who use him every day in the shop, but no, honestly, the pocket hole jig is a really neat system. It's very handy for things where you're only going to see the one side of the beautiful face. It makes it very easy and quick to put things together. It is only one way. There's plenty of other ways that you can join lumber together, but this is a quick and easy one that has been very handy for us. So again, somebody else did it before you, so there's no reason you can't do it yourself.